My guest this morning is a long-term bull on India. And joining me is Seth Freeman, CEO of U.S. EM Capital Management, a company that advises investors on emerging markets. And Seth also covers the EM Capital India Gateway Fund. And he joins us from Mumbai this morning. It's pretty early there in the city, so thank you so much, Seth, for making time for us. Let's get to our discussion on Indian stocks, because the last time we chatted, you kept saying that India seems to provide more investing opportunities than China at this point. How much further do you think Indian stocks will gain this year?
Well, the rough estimates among different analysts is somewhere between 20 and 30%. And part of it has to do with economic policy and the government's sense of needing to restrain inflation.
Yeah, and you've been active really in India for the past 4 years. You know, this restraint on inflation, a lot of other themes. It seems like you pretty much like all sectors across the board. I'll name some. It includes healthcare, education, banks, financials, consumers. Let me just ask you this, Seth. Are there any sectors that you don't like?
Well, we like media a lot, although it's tending to drag in terms of really generating a lot of profits. However, media is also part of the consumer growth story. But in general, across the board, we see economic growth, and it's driven by the huge opportunity for consumer growth, and behind that, infrastructure development.
All right, I'm going to get into your stock picks now, Seth, because we don't have much time. But one of the names you like is Financial Technologies India. This stock is up 212% since January of last year, trading at 1620 rupees. Now, looking at its price earnings, at its PE, at current earnings, it looks kind of pricey, you know, 30 times forward earnings here, and negative sales growth of 20% and a drop in operating margin of 23%. This is what I looked at on the Bloomberg terminal. So why is this stock worth buying into?
I just spent 3 days meeting management at the Future Financial Management Conference in Goa, India. And I was very impressed by the team. The company is basically a proxy for not only Indian growth, but also growth in other markets. What they do is they literally create from scratch new securities exchanges. And they're focused not on India, but also on Africa. And it represents, I think, kind of a double play, both on the company's operating basis, but also in the economic growth of the countries that it operates.
Yeah, it seems like you're doing something right these days, Seth, because I'm looking at your returns for your EM Capital India Gateway Fund. You're up 133%. That's on a one-year basis as of Friday. So let's talk about your other stock picks then and get some information to our viewers. Another name you like is Fortis Healthcare. And, you know, it's up 6% so far this year, up 90% last year. And it plans to invest over 2.5 billion rupees in its Indian expansion. Why this particular name in the healthcare sector?
Well, it's a very well-managed company. It's highly capitalized. The Singh family has plenty of money to keep expanding it. It's a very strong proxy for the overall healthcare theme in India, which is a very strongly growing sector.
Okay, let's talk about Tata Motors quickly as well, because this is a name that has been in the news for the last few years, obviously with the rollout of the Nano, which is the cheapest car in the world, up 361% since last year. Some would say that the recovery, Seth, has already been priced into the stock. So are there more gains to come?
Well, I think that there's been some very big gains in some of these names. I believe that, again, this is a well-run company. The timing for acquiring Jaguar and Rover was about as bad as can be. It looks like they're out of the woods on that one. I'm impressed with the new models. I think when the Nano comes out, and especially when the Nano hits the United States, the idea of having a $4,000 car in the United States is going to be just very striking.
Oh, I bet. All right, Seth, thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy your time in India. We'll talk to you soon. That's Seth Freeman, CEO of U.S. EM Capital Management.